Hi, Vivian.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, good, good. I can't complain.
It's cool. It's been long.
It's been a while, right?
Mm-hmm. I've seen you hosting a couple of sessions there by LinkedIn.
Yeah. There've been quite a lot of late, but I'm not complaining because now I'm getting people offering to pay. So it's like a side hustle.
That's awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Thank you. What's new on you guys' side?
We are launching a new site called the Marketplace. It has a couple of short courses that people can jump in and out as they go through the conversion into data scientists. So you don't have to have like maybe a 6 months long commitment.
Nice.
You
Okay.
can jump and learn for maybe the next 6 weeks from a certain mentor, learning maybe data scraping, and then you can come back at any time you want to. But then there's like a trajectory created for you that you can follow to get to the next level.
Good stuff. So was this from the feedback you guys got? Was there a demand for it before you guys jumped on it? Also, I love the new website.
Oh, yeah. No,
there's a lot going on. A lot. I love it. Like the courses. So do people just take them by themselves or you have someone to direct you like before?
There is a guidance where you can see how to take the courses in the correct sequence. But then if you want to jump into whatever course that you're interested in, you can do it anytime.
Wow.
And what we are working on to secure like more people joining to courses is that we work with different communities. So what we are trying to get is to get like a community to register into a particular course at a certain time, because in that way they come in numbers. And there are a lot of communities operating around.
Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You guys haven't been sleeping. Cool. So what time do we start?
So usually we share both the form and the registration. We had about 15 people registered to come to this event. I also sent out a reminder. So we are just going to give it like 5 minutes, then we begin.
Cool, that's fine.
I should be joining you in your next event on is it the 16th or the 15th? I want to see what you guys do it for at Farmula.
Come again? Sorry.
I'm saying that I should be joining you guys on your next event. Is it the 15th?
Oh yeah, Mastercard Foundation. Yeah. Are you talking? Okay, sorry. There are two. So there's Mastercard and there's an event for the food something. So one is on the 14th.
You guys talk about the finances in the food industry.
Oh, so that's different. That already happened. Yeah.
Has it?
That happened. So the ones that are coming up is one where we're talking about entrepreneurship. That's under the Mastercard Foundation. And then the second one is with the Netherlands food partnerships, where we're talking about just the general agricultural landscape across the globe. Yeah. But that one has already happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I must have missed a lot from it.
Yep.
Okay. Let me just confirm something. Imagine finding out that the link that we have here is different. No, it's just trying to confirm if I shared the correct link with the other group.
Okay. Cool. I'm on standby. So then do we just once I can see Victor here. So once guys join on, I just start or you just cue me in. That's fine.
I'll just introduce the class. I'll introduce yourself, then I'll give you a chance to start.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Percy.
Okay. Hi guys, those that are already here, thank you for joining in on time. We're just going to give it the next 2 minutes and we're going to begin at 5 past. All right, I think the rest of the guests will jump in as we continue. We are going to be beginning. Thank you guys for being on time. I think being punctual is very important in life. I just want to introduce let me introduce myself first. I know some of you guys don't know me. My name is Percy. I am with the Gradient Boost. So I'm just the technical support from the internal side of things. We have also most of you, I'm working with your group leaders from your different communities. We have today Vivian, who has been part of the Gradient Boost before, but then she had her own interesting endeavors that she embarked on and grew from that side of things. So she would be telling us more about her career into data sciences and also eventually Farmula, which is the company she founded along the way, which is doing great things in farming in Nigeria. So I just want to hear from a few of you guys. Mr. Yemi, I hope that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Would you mind unmuting your mic, introducing yourself, and just telling us which community you are from, if you were invited to this event by your community leader? Mr. Yemi?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Yemi Dali. Well, I'm a software developer. I'm more of an enthusiast. I'm interested in knowing how how to break out into data science, how to build a career in it and all that. So that's my interest.
Okay, thank you very much. That's awesome. I think we will be learning much about that. I'll also be telling you guys about the Gradient Boost, how you can make use of it to boost your knowledge in data science and eventually securing something, definitely. Thank you very much, Mr. Yemi. I'm going to be moving to you, Victor. You can unmute your mic, introduce yourself, tell us which community you're from, and what are you hoping to learn?
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Victor Oguru. I'm a front-end developer. So I'm from my community is Dev Center community, and I'm just here to gain knowledge. So just in search of knowledge. Just it's generally in search of knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Where's where's your community based?
You mean tech community?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, DevStar is in Nigeria. Dev Center is in Nigeria.
Is it based in a particular city?
No, I'm not sure. I saw them online and I joined. So we just actually meet on Slack to get information on Slack.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Mr. Emeka, you are the last one, and then we are going to begin with the session.
Okay, good evening. My name is Emeka Opondoh. I'm a project manager. Well, recently I've been much about data analysis. Recently completed the Google data analysis on Coursera. So I'm very much interested in data science as it is. So that's it.
Okay, that's great. How did you learn about this event?
Okay, a participant here sent me the link and I joined.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for joining in. I will be handing this over to Vivian, and we continue from that direction.
I don't know. Can you guys see me and hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like my laptop is playing tricks. I can't see myself well. Otherwise, hi guys. I don't know if you can see the poster behind me. I'm still at work. That's how we pay using mobile money here. If anyone is curious what that is about. So hi everyone, my name is Vivian Opondoh. Thank you for joining. And just to echo what Percy said, I'm really appreciative of everyone who joined on time. It counts, it really does. I feel like a lot of opportunities I've been able to seize is because I was present and I was punctual. So I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Vivian Opondoh. I am based in Nairobi, Kenya. I currently do a number of things which I will share in a bit. But the main thing that I do day to day is I run an agri-tech startup called Farmula, and we have operations in Lagos and Nairobi. So at this point, so that I feel like I've touched on everything, I feel like Yemi mentioned something, his interest, why he jumped on the call. Also, Victor touched on a bit of why he's here. Sorry, I'll keep clearing my throat. I don't know, I feel like there's something stuck there. If you can put in the chat what you are interested to find out once I'm done with the session. So if I haven't touched on what you're interested in, then I can just jump on it, but just put it in the chat, whether you're here to learn about negotiating salaries, how to then jump on opportunities, internships, just put it in the chat. I'd really appreciate that. So at this point, I will share my screen. Percy, can you see my screen? Hello? Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, you can see it. You can see your
Yeah,
screen.
we can see your screen.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go through my decks. I'll share personal images. You can laugh, but just mute yourself. And these were like highlights during my journey from where I started to where I'm at. And then I just want everyone to take a keen note on the location, where I was with the particular opportunity, how I was able to secure the opportunity, whether it was sponsored or the type of compensation I got, and then the soft skills and the technical skills that I got from each part of my stage, each stage of my journey, right? So then, yeah. We'll start with campus. So I briefly schooled in Western Michigan University. This was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the US. And how I got into the school, I applied. So with this image, you can see me. I was with my friends. We were trying to hike up the Hollywood, to go see the Hollywood sign, only to get there and found it was fenced. So we really didn't get to see it up close, but it was a good hike. It's a great memory. I still appreciate the whole experience. And then I was majoring in aerospace engineering. And while I was schooling, I had the opportunity to work as a conference associate and a server. I'll tell you why. Those are some of the highlights I put on here. I was compensated in form of money. And then the soft skills that I acquired were customer care, time management, teamwork, and working under no supervision. And then the technical skills, these were part of school. So apart from like my engineering skills, I also learned how to do 3D drawings and prototyping. So the reason why we have conference associate here and being a server is because you find that there are a lot of things you can learn in school, but you actually have to be out in the field doing the real work. And that's where all the experience comes in, right? So I was fresh from Nairobi, had never been out of the country. I arrived in the US. First of all, you're told how you have an accent. You're from Nigeria, you have an accent. So they don't even understand how the continent works and how large it is. So everyone just assumed I was from Nigeria. So if you're from Nigeria, just know everyone knows about your country out there. So I really had to change the way I talk in order to be able to be understood. And I talk a lot with my hands because at times it was frustrating. So then I had to gesture. But I learned a lot with regards to accommodating different people and working with different people from different backgrounds. So end of it, I acquired a lot of skills. And yes, if you can switch on your videos, kindly do, because then I feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay, where did the guy go now? Okay, next slide. So then I came back to Kenya, that was in 2015, and I was really trying to apply for work. And no, majority of the people are not replying. So how I went about it is I was sending email. In a day, I could set a target. Say, today I'm going to send out 20 emails to 20 different companies. And so I would just copy paste the same email, change the person's name, change the company. This is after doing my research and finding out they were hiring, put in my CV and send it out. After a few emails, say 60, and I was getting like 2 replies from time to time, then I decided to start cold calling. Cold calls is when you research and you find out the numbers of the companies that are hiring and you call them directly and you inquire whether the position is still open and you express your interest. So then that's what I was able to do. And after a few days, it wasn't even a week, I was fortunate enough to find a company that was hiring, and it was in the engineering space. So I was a junior engineer and I went in not expecting to be paid any money, but luckily they were paying an intern and I was very excited. And the skills that I acquired here were project management because I was running the whole project myself. And then I was also able to do a lot of research because it was a new project. What we were doing is we were assembling solar powered panels, right? Sorry, what am I saying? Solar powered vehicles, whereby you take 2 bicycles side by side, you assemble them using like metal frames, and then you put a solar panel on top. So it uses a motor and it's powered using solar. And those were what we were developing to be used in rural Kenya. And the technical skills that I acquired were solar panel installation and 3D design. Okay. After it was 6 months. After working there for 6 months, I found out my boss, who was based in Morocco, wanted to be able to monitor the solar powered panels remotely. So he didn't want to be there physically to know the speed the cycles were being operated in, how they were being maintained, or their location. He wanted to do that while he was in Morocco. That's when I discovered there's something called software development. So then I wanted to transition into software development and I didn't know how. So in kicked my skills about doing research, which I had learned from previous experience. I went online and I started doing my research about software development schools in Nairobi. This was back in 2017. There were very few. So I came across a video about Moringa School. I don't know if any one of you are from Kenya, but yes, came up across a video about Moringa School. I went in for the interview before I even informed my mom, who was supposed to pay my school fees. So then after I got through with the interview, I came back and I told my mom, I've gotten into this school and I really want to go and study there. So at this point, it's like, she can't even give an excuse of go first for the interview. Once you pass, then you can talk. No, I'm already in. So she agreed and she paid for me. And the school is located in Nairobi, Kenya. How I was able to get in is I applied after doing my research. And then this was self-sponsored. My mom paid for it. And I learned software development there. The soft skills that I learned was we were every Friday, you would then one person will then stand in front of the class and just do a presentation, then you will get feedback, right? So giving and receiving feedback was something I really, really learned from Moringa School. And then presentation skills were also something. And then performance awareness. So we had one-on-one sessions where we would meet with our technical mentor every week, and he will be able to communicate to us our progress. And at the end of it, we did like mock interviews, and we had to create our CVs and update our LinkedIn. If you guys have been on my LinkedIn, I try update it every other month, only because I find that a lot of employers, that's something they look at nowadays. And then also doing like oral interviews, because we did a lot of mock interviews, like for 1 month before we even graduated. And the tech skills that I acquired were like writing pseudocode or collaborating on Git, right? That's also something I learned from Moringa School. Some HTML, CSS, I had never coded before. And yeah, you might wonder why I did engineering and never coded. I don't know, I wasn't into coding when I was doing my engineering classes, and we were writing code in C, and I wasn't interested. So yeah, this was I would say my first time. And then prototyping using Marvel. It's a tool where you can do like a low-level prototype for your apps. I also wrote code in JavaScript, Java, and Android. I would want to add that one other thing I learned from Moringa School is not to compare myself with anyone else. Our journeys are different. And I remember when we started, it was my first time coding, and first week, because every Friday we had a project. So the first week, people were writing like full-blown websites, very impressive websites. And I remember wondering, what am I even doing in this class? Am I in the right place? Later on, I found out these people I was comparing myself to had gone to campus and had been coding for like 4 years, 5 years. So they had done this before. And here I was comparing myself, right? So it's like I was doing myself an injustice. So to date, if I am better today than I was yesterday, that's good enough for me. And I feel like that should be good enough for everyone. So after Moringa School, what they do is they invite hiring partners. So that's how I got my first job. We had like would I say a career day? I'm not even sure what to call it, whereby hiring partners come in. These are potential people who might hire you. And then you present your project, and they can be able to evaluate and call you in for an interview. So I remember I got called in the same day for an interview, and HealthyNet, which is a startup in the health space here in Kenya. And what we're doing there is we're developing telemedicine platforms. They called me in for an interview, and I secured my job. So I didn't even have to wait long, immediately after graduating. And keep in mind, Moringa School is a 6-month course. So you do it for 6 months, and then now you go and you start looking for work. So immediately after 6 months of learning how to develop and write code, I got hired at HealthyNet. HealthyNet is located in Nairobi, Kenya. And how I got hired, yeah, I've mentioned this, is we had like a career day where we did our presentation, and I was called in for an interview. Compensation was money, way better than what I was getting paid with my entry engineering internship job. Soft skills that I learned was salary negotiations, stand-ups. This was the first company I was in where we were doing stand-ups, and our stand-ups were at 9:06 immediately. Work culture development. I remember when I got into HealthyNet, I just one day proposed, guys, can we then, if you're late, you just remove like $0.2, and this goes into a kitty, and then after a while we can then use it to do something fun in the office. So we started doing that and people were being punctual. But then if you're late, you just remove the money. And after some time, we then use it to buy ice cream and enjoy as a team. So yeah, work culture development. So such things were what I learned, whereby we were also planning movies as a company and going together. Really, really, really important. Communication skills, making myself an asset. I remember when I got into Health Inet, I got in as a software developer, and that's all I went in there to do. But with time, we had data that we needed analyzed, and I wasn't really conversant with Excel, but I threw myself in, and with guidance from the CEO, I was the one now analyzing the company's data, to the point that when I was not there, then they had to then inquire, like, where is this document? How can we find this? And that's making yourself an asset, whereby you're in a company, but there are things that only you can bring to the table. And I feel like that's something that you should have through your journey. Also, user training. So when we're developing the application, we would go into the field. This is rural Kenya, area called Turkana. So we'd fly there like every month and train our users on how to use our application, get user feedback, and then we would iterate. We also had to write timesheets to then account for the time we were putting into the company. So as much as you're coming into the office physically 8 to 5, you still have to break down to give visibility to management on what you've been able to do that month. And that's really made me very accountable on my time, such that today, if I'm working with someone or I've hired someone and they tell me they have been sending out, I don't know, a particular document for a whole week, I can call them out, right? So then the reason why HealthyNet has 2 slides is because this is where I really, really found my footing with regards to coding skills, right? So my tech skill continued. We were doing sprints. This is where you, for like 3 days, you have tasks that you have to accomplish. These are tasks that we code. You should have pushed XYZ tasks. So we had sprints. And on top of using GitHub, now I was using GitLab. We're collaborating a lot on Git. So there's this platform that has like a user interface. It's called Git Kraken. So instead of going on the terminal and doing your push commands, you can use Git Kraken, where you have like the user interface. It's really dope. You should check it out if you are a coder. I also learned how to develop wireframes on Balsamic. I remember when I was going through my coding school, I really hated AngularJS. I don't know how many of you use Angular. You just put that in the chat. For some reason, I hated AngularJS because we had to run it from scratch, not using the command line where you can go and just run it automatically. No, you had to build it step by step. And it always wasn't working. So I really disliked AngularJS. But once I was working and using AngularJS, it's actually a really easy coding language. So I really enjoyed it. We did a lot of app testing, technical demos when we were presenting to management what we've been able to do, and then iterating from all the feedback we were getting. And this is also where I learned how to develop a requirement document. So if you're meeting with a client, you need to be very clear what you can deliver, and they need to be very clear what they want. And that is all this goes on the requirement document, such that it's a document you can refer to and say, I've delivered on what you are requiring. And then writing user documents so that if any other developer comes after you, they can then be able to know what you are doing on that particular project, using APIs and then NPM and app deployment. So all this I learned at HealthyNet. Mind you, I've gone through a software development school. So I can't stress enough that you can't learn everything in school. At some point, you have to jump in the deep end, and that's like starting to work or doing projects, like doing real life projects, whether it's pro bono or whether you're getting paid. That is where you really, really learn, because then there are curveballs that will come your way that you can't experience when you're in school. Cool. So then I was really ambitious. I wanted to be a senior software developer after 1 year, and my dreams were crushed when I realized our senior software dev had been in the field for like 13 years. So I just posed on that dream and I joined MEST. The reason why I joined MEST is at this point, I was developing applications, but I couldn't sell them. I couldn't take them to market. So it's like I had solutions, but I didn't know how to sell them. Okay. So MEST is a Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology. It's located in Accra, Ghana. And what you go to learn at MEST is software entrepreneurship, and it's a fully sponsored school where you go learn communication, business, and technical skills. The soft skills that I learned there were networking, teamwork, market research, using Canva, product market fit, and how to pitch to an investor. And the technical skills were Meteor. I wouldn't advise anyone to check out Meteor, to be honest. Just my personal preference. So I graduated from MEST in 2019, and around the same time, we launched Farmula. So Farmula is an agri-tech startup where we are trying to be as data-driven as possible to bring solutions in the agricultural space on the continent. Farmula has really helped me grow and opened a lot of doors. So Farmula being data driven then drove me to go learn data science. So personally, this works for me, going into institution and learning or taking courses to then upskill myself. That works for me. It might not work for you. Something different might work for you. Find that thing that works for you. So we launched Farmula in Nairobi, Kenya in 2019. And how we were able to do this is we received equity investment from MEST. We are in the agricultural space. Currently, I'm able to pitch for investment, and then I am aware of the different kind of investments that exist. And then I learned a lot of customer acquisition by being on ground, customer retention by just running our company, and then hiring. Then COVID hit and we had to downsize. So some of these things you have to learn on the job. You can't then go to school and be taught how to downsize. Personally, I've never learned that in school. And then pivoting, because if something doesn't work, or yes, there's a pandemic like COVID, you have then to tweak your solution to fit market. And also you have to do it with partners. You can't go this journey alone. The technical skills have been product development, data collection, data analysis, and I'll explain that on my next slide. So we started Farmula with the ambition of collecting data in the agricultural space, taking this data, analyzing it, and then being able to give out data insights to the stakeholders across the agricultural space to be able to use these insights to better how they farm or how they produce or how they just work around the agricultural space. I was not conversant with data science advanced skills. I only knew how to analyze my data on Excel. So then I applied to African Leadership University and I was able to get in on a partial scholarship. And from there, the soft skills that I acquired, because only got to go to Johannesburg, that's where our classes were at once, and then COVID hit. So I had to come back home and we're now doing online classes. But the soft skills that I acquired because of COVID were like collaboration. This is virtual collaboration or dealing with burnout, because as much as I was in school, I was also doing other running my own company and doing other things on the side. And then Zoom etiquette, I had never used Zoom before. So at this point, you have to be able to jump on a Zoom call and know how to mute yourself. All these things that I learned just by going to ANU. The technical skills were just collaborating on Slack, being able to create channels and being able to converse on Slack. Python, I had never coded in Python before, as much as I have a background in software development, so I had to learn a lot of Python. Using Jupyter Notebook, that's where I do most of my data science, data analysis, data visualization. I use Jupyter Notebook. And then the library that I'm conversant with is Pandas, and this I also learned at African Leadership University. A lot of data analysis, data visualization, machine learning models, and the key thing, which was our final project, was digital twin. I don't know if some of you are conversant with digital twin. I'm really excited about bringing this into the agricultural space, where you represent a physical object in the virtual world, and then you take it through the different things the physical object might experience just to optimize its performance. Really excited about digital twins. So then my stint at Gradient Boost, while I was running Farmula, and I was still at ALU, I had a conversation with Emmanuel, and Emmanuel is a co-founder at The Gradient Boost. And yeah, he was looking for co-founders, and I happened to work with him. I learned a lot. Especially from Emmanuel and Jasmine. They are co-founders at The Gradient Boost. Worked alongside Percy and other individuals. And I would say one thing I appreciate about working at The Gradient Boost is being agile. So before, I used to have an idea or want to do something, but I wasn't agile with it. But just the way I was seeing the team at The Gradient Boost move, I was able to acquire that skill. So yes, Emmanuel reached out via LinkedIn. So that's another channel that people can reach out to you to then have conversations so that you can work with them. There was no compensation, but I was okay with it because I prefer. So there are different modes of compensation. So this is why I was saying, as I'm talking, you guys should take note. So you can either have money or equity, or you can have like a partnership. It doesn't have to be money all the time when you're going into an agreement with someone. And then the soft skills that I acquired were like partnership proposal, being agile, hosting podcasts. We did some of that. Technical skills were like data science curriculum development. I was part of that. Collaborating on Google Collaboratory. I had not done that before. Working with a data science team, I had also not done that before. And running tech interviews, okay? Enter Female Leadership Entrepreneurs Conference. You might ask why, then because I run my own company, why am I also doing all these other things? So at some point with the Gradient Boost, it was a matter of, I was really, really exerting myself. This was in 2020, COVID had just hit. I was in campus doing ALU, I was running my own company. I think I was also in an accelerator, if I'm not wrong. And here I was trying to help run a data science school. So at some point I had to pick, right? Because it was getting too much. I wasn't delivering the way I knew I could deliver. So I opted to stick with Farmula. Not because I wasn't enjoying the Gradient Boost, just because I was too stretched to do everything, right? So then after I graduated from ALU, now I had some more time, and the CEO of Female Leaders Entrepreneurs Conference reached out to me. And now this time I was really cautious to commit myself. So she proposed to me to then be a speaker at one of her conference. But after the conference, it went really well that now we signed a contract and I ran her operations in East Africa. And this is very part-time. So I only work with her like 4 times in a year, every quarter. And with her, in the beginning, there was no compensation. It was just me becoming a speaker on her platform. But now, like recently, she got me onto a UN platform in a conference, in a forum, West Africa Business Forum that happened in Lagos, Nigeria. Sorry, guys. And while there, they paid for my flight accommodation, and I also got stipend. And moving on in our future projects, then I get compensation, like I get a percentage of the profit. So that's what I was able to negotiate. But you see, first I worked with her and she was able to see my potential and she was able to see where she can place me in her company. Before now we got into the negotiating. So if you get an opportunity whereby you can then prove your value and work pro bono, even if it's for 1 gig, I'm not saying work for 10 years pro bono, no. Don't exert yourself like that. So if you get an opportunity where you can work with someone on consultation basis, just to show your worth, then when you're negotiating, you even have like the upper hand, as opposed to going into a situation, you don't know the amount of work you're going to have to do. And while you're there, you then under negotiate, like you get a smaller pay. So working pro bono in the beginning is not, don't be against it, but be very intelligent about it, such that someone is not choosing you. So the soft skills that I have learned while working with the CEO of Compass Global is creating conference packages, securing corporate partners, and then approaching industry players to be sponsors, and also pitching to corporates now. And then after that, also had an opportunity to serve as a volunteer at Mastercard Foundation. The compensation here is a stipend, but very, 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 very high potential of just having doors open. There's so much doors that have opened for me, just being part of Mastercard Foundation. But you see, this is something I took upon myself and I decided to volunteer. I'm not encouraging you guys to volunteer if you're not interested. The other thing is we collect a lot of data. So we work with a lot of young people to enable them through, once they have graduated from the Mastercard Foundation programs, then they can be able to transition seamlessly into the real world, either go into employment or start their own business. So while we're doing this, we collect a lot of data, and I'm still able to use my data science skills and analyze this data. I'm now actually writing reusable code such that not every time I have to analyze things that I have analyzed before, I write the code again. No, I just use the same data and live feed the data from the Excel where we are pulling it from. And then also data cleaning. There's a lot of data cleaning that happens that I couldn't comprehend just by going through my course at ALU. I've also learned a lot of patience, how to meet deadlines, and then following up on teammates, because on this network, I'm the coordinator. So I ensure each and everyone is moving in unison and we are really collaborating and getting the work done. So that's also part-time. Nice. So other than that, how I've also made myself stand out, because right now I find myself, I'm at a point whereby most of the things or the opportunities that have come my way, I don't necessarily have to apply for them as much as before, only because I've been able to then build myself to the point where I'm known in certain spaces. So if someone is doing a recommendation, then they can be able to say, you should look into Vivian, she's done ABCD, okay? So I'll give you an example. When I was still in Moringa School back in 2017, when I was starting my software development journey, I got into a lot of hackathons. Hackathons then give you exposure, they build you, and they just build your teamwork, okay? And then from hackathons, you were then able to win some of the hackathons. So if you put in a resume that you won a NASA Space Hackathon, personally, my background is in aerospace engineering. So then this also builds my profile to the point of no one was paying me to do a hackathon. It was not required of me to do a hackathon, but I really put myself out there. And in the process, I was able to learn and build my profile. I've also been part of several accelerators, and also these ones have also opened doors for me. I remember I went to China, fully sponsored. This is in 2019 under Unleash. This is a UN SDG program where they take fellows from all over the world and they pay, and then you can be able to go and work on different solutions there. I also briefly ran a Moringa School Women in Tech program. And then I was also in Tech by Her. And to date, I can tell you just recently, one of my mentors at Tech by Her, she's called Maureen. Maureen is the leader of L'Oreal, right? You wonder, what does L'Oreal have to do with anything? Anyway, she's one of, like, what does L'Oreal have to do with data science and tech? L'Oreal, Maureen is really, really brilliant. She's savvy. Her journey is very impressive, and she was one of our sponsors because she's also run her own business. But recently, she just introduced me to her sister who works at Amazon, because they were looking to hire individuals on the continent, especially female in the tech space. So then if I wouldn't have put myself out there and gone through the Tech by Her program. I wouldn't have met Maureen, and this introduction into someone who works at Amazon wouldn't have happened. So there's a way we think about our journey, but if you're open and you keep an open mind whereby you then are open to meeting people and network and showing them your abilities, you'll be very, very impressed at how many doors will open that you would have never thought about. I was just talking to Percy just before we started this call, and he was telling me he's seen I do a lot of moderator and speaker engagements. Yes, so that is something I'm very, very, very into right now, only because I find that the people I meet on these platforms are really appreciative of when I share my journey. And beyond that, you find that there are also corporates that are looking to pay for you to share your journey and your learnings. Because I remember when we came into the space, Farmula, that's the company Farmula, we had to take like a whole year to understand the landscape. So you see someone willing to want to come into the space and take a whole year. If you're willing to share your learnings, people are willing to pay for that, right? So that has also become another revenue channel for me. And some of the moderator sessions I've had were like Digital Pay Expo, where I moderated a panel on automation and AI, and I really enjoyed it. And then Female Leaders Conference, that's the one I worked with Chokumbo, and now I do her stuff in East Africa. I was also fortunate enough to moderate a panel at the West African Business Forum. And yeah, I was also a speaker at the same forum. I have articles that have been written about our company and personally about me. And this is another way that I've gotten exposure about what I do and my abilities and my skills. And that also helps. So you can see there are different articles on my LinkedIn. And the reason why I say that also helps is because if people share your articles, then their networks get to see it. So then you don't have to do the work of going from person to person and trying to sell yourself. Instead, other platforms are able to sell your skills for you. So that is me in a nutshell. And yeah, if I'm not working, then I'm not learning how to drive, guys. I have no idea how to drive. I'm not planning to learn. It's not one of my interests. That's just a fun fact about me. I'm very, very shy. Don't ask her how I was able to speak through this whole session, but I'm very shy, especially when I meet people for the first time. And then I don't believe there's anything I can't do, especially if I put my mind into it, because I just think of it as it's very unfamiliar. All I have to do is make it familiar. And then lastly, life is a journey, guys. Take it easy, take it a day at a time, and you'll get there. And this image right here is just to stress how life is a journey. It's a collage of all my images that I've shared when I was doing the other parts. And yeah, so the image wouldn't be complete with the other parts. Thank you. I don't know how I did, Percy. That's me.
Oh.
And yeah, I can take questions.
That was great. I learned a lot. I like the fact that you expose yourself into situations that will help you grow. That's something that I just learned for myself, and I think I'll take that daily. Like putting yourself in situations that will really help you grow and meet new people. Attending those seminars that you can find through LinkedIn and being collaborative. I really liked it, and I adored that about you. The fact that you just put yourself out there and learn with other people. Guys, this session is for all of us. So if you have any question for Vivian here, I think you can raise your hand and I'll give you a chance to talk. A question from myself, that's something that I'm really keen to understand, to know, is how you guys use at Farmula, how do you make use of data in the farm industry? Like, how do you go about it?
That's a very good question, Percy. There's so many ways we want to use data. I'll give you an examples, right? So then we want to be able to use our data to predict yield, predict price. So we were doing that before COVID. We were able to build a model using historical data. So we were able to access historical data from the Kenyan government, and we built a model, and it was about 80% accurate, and it was predicting like prices of different fresh produce by month, if I'm not wrong. This was like in 2019, and then COVID happened, and they scattered the whole thing, because now we didn't take into account things like a pandemic, right? So then why would we have thought that a pandemic will happen? So that's to put that into consideration when we were building our model. But we are still building to work on that. How we'll work around that is still a work in progress, but mainly we try predict yield, okay? And then beyond that, now, because we were solely software, so we're collecting our data and just like analyzing it on our models, our machine learning models. But now we want to use sensors to be able to collect data such as temperature, water, humidity, all these things during production, such that when a farmer is then like watering their farm, they don't have to do the whole farm. Because guys, if you don't know, we're still at that stage where farmers just water their whole land and they don't know there are places that don't need watering. So we want to have that precision farming whereby when you're putting on manure or you're putting like a pesticide or you're watering your farm, right? We have sensors on the farm that can then be able to tell the farmer, this is the area you need to concentrate on. And then when it's about time to harvest, they can then be able to predict their yield and access market way before they actually even harvest, right? So you don't have to think about accessing market after you've then harvested. You have that already accessed. And then on the demand side, what we are trying to do is we're trying to predict our retailers' demand. And this we're trying to do by, because they do transactions through our platform. So at some point we are able to know when they're running low, instead of them having to press up to place an order, we automatically then refill their produce for them. And so we're trying to automate that part of placing orders by our retailers and eventually match demand to supply such that we reduce waste. So those are some of the things we're trying to work around in the agricultural space. Percy, did I answer you?
Yes, you did. That is quite awesome. You guys are doing great things there. Yeah, that's awesome. Just one last question from myself. How do you work around getting data? I think most of the data science startups really have difficulties getting the data from the people who own the data and utilizing it their way.
Yes, I remember even in ALU, this was a topic, data collection. You find that one of the guests who came to speak to us was really big in the data science space. And he was saying, when he was doing some analysis around supermarkets and how people shop, he had to get individuals to help him. So they would stand outside supermarkets. You see, when someone throws away their receipt, they will collect that and go analyze it. So it's really a huge issue, and it hasn't been really streamlined in different sectors, not only in the agricultural space. We are fortunate enough, and this question were really asked a lot of times, especially before we got our investment, because then yes, you want to be a data-driven startup. How do you then get your data? We're not that advanced on the continent, that's number one. And number two, you can't then say you're taking my investment money and I should give you like 5 years before you can collect data. So one way is we were fortunate enough to get the historical data I just mentioned. That is an open source platform. So there are open source platforms you can look into. And then number two for us, it's because we work closely with the farmers and the retailers that we are then providing value for. So we really had to bring in a platform that connects farmer to buyer. So the data actually just passes through our platform. But if we were just coming into the space and approaching farmers and approaching retailers without giving them value and saying, kindly, could we please have your data and go analyze it? I think we would have faced some pushback. But right now, we don't go sell it that way. We go in and what we sell to them is value. The retailers, we're telling them, we're giving you access of produce direct from farm. Order through our platform. The farmers, what we're telling them is we'll make you 25% more by cutting out the irrelevant players across the chain. So once they see value, then they are open to using the platforms you provide. So then now you're not asking them for data, but you're providing them value that then gives you access to the data.
Oh, that's quite great. That's quite great. Okay, guys, if you guys from the audience, if you have any other question from Vivian and what we have learned thus far, just unmute your mic and do so. Otherwise, we will be moving to the next part of the event. And yeah. Do we have any questions?
Any questions, guys? Feedback, takeaway?
Whatever that you have learned, if it's not a question, what you need clarification on, what you still need
Yeah.
to like explore more.
Are you excited about the data space? Yemi, you're the one who was curious about software development. Is there anything I left out that you want to know?
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, the question I want to ask is, I know you shared about your career and the areas you've delved into that sort of gives you coverage. But I'm sure it's not everything that is absolutely essential for data science. So that's on one hand, I'd like you to address that. So for someone coming in now, I'm sure they don't have to do all those things before they can break in. That's one. Then the second thing I also like to know is people here as well. Can you map out the data science space for us? So, for instance, you mentioned indirectly that you can find yourself as a technology director. That's one. You could be a data scientist. You could be, I don't know, what else is in that space? Is it someone that sells data or someone that curates data, or you're at the other end of the spectrum? So just map out the space for us. Thank you.
Nice. That is a very good point. So I'll start with, so before I map out the data science, you mentioned that there are things in my journey that don't necessarily link to data science. But just to point out, if I'm standing in front of, saying a hiring partner, and someone else is just coming into with a data science background, I feel like I have an edge only because I also have engineering and software development background, and that has worked for me. Am I saying you should go out and become an engineer and learn software development? No, I'm saying that has really propelled me in my journey. I recently had a friend, she's now a friend. I recently had a lady reach out to me on LinkedIn, and she was debating whether she should then add software development to her data science skills. And she was asking me what I think about that. And I personally try not to advise as much as I try to share my experience. And I feel like what I told her was, you see, I think you have the answer only because you then know, especially when you're interacting with hiring partners, you then know what they want, right? And you find that if you're coming to the data science space and you are like me initially, analyzing data through Excel, someone who's analyzing data using Python or R, they have an edge over you because you can do a lot more using coding languages and programming languages as opposed to what you can do with Excel. And the languages are more flexible and you can build reusable codes. These ones are not as, there are platforms that are not as flexible. So then to answer the question about the things that were not irrelevant in my journey, some were not related to data science at all. And I did them because, yeah, they're building into my bigger picture. And I only shared them here so that people don't assume that all these opportunities fall on my lap. No. I could promise you in a year, I apply for like 36 opportunities on the lower side. So in a month, like 3 opportunities, that is 36 in a year, but I could always get 0 or 1, okay? To paint out what is out there in the data science field, to be honest, there's a lot, right? And you find like right now, people are looking for data-driven insights. So then people don't want to do any more guesswork. And as Percy asked, how do people collect data? If you can hack that, see, you've already brought an edge. If you can just hack how to conveniently access data for people, that's an edge in itself. So there's a lot to do with data collection. There's a lot to do with data analysis. And I know a lot of companies, what we do at Mastercard Foundation at every quarter, right? So then as much as my role is not purely data science, there's some parts of it whereby the data we collect to management at a glance, they should be able to make sense of it, right? So there's the data collection bit of it, there's the data cleaning. There are some people who, when they receive data, they just start working on it. They have not even cleaned it. So there's the data cleaning part, and then there's the data analysis, and then visualizing of the data, such that when you present it to anyone who's never even touched data, at a glance, they should be able to make sense of it. So these are some of the opportunities that I've seen out here. And then now I can't then say I'm coming into the space and I want to manage a data science team, yet myself, I haven't done this on ground work. So there's also that part where now you can elevate, and you're not the one doing directly the data stuff, but you're managing a team that is doing that. I can't think of any other things right now, but I know they're there. Also, Percy, if you know anything that I've left out, just feel free to add.
Okay, thank you very much. Is your question answered, Yemi?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes.
That is great. Thank you very much for the question. Do we have any other question from the audience?
Yes, hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Please, I'm Aderomu Adewu. Please, just an addendum to what Yemi just asked now. For somebody coming in without any experience as per coding or software development, how will you advise the journey to be? Do you start with which program language will you start? You want to be a data scientist. How will you recommend for the person to start the journey? And how long should the person be envisaging to take?
Okay, Vivian, I think this one is mine.
Okay.
Unless, can you go ahead and give them your side of the story?
I would say, especially with regards to timeline, like how long it would take them, that should be on a case-to-case basis. And then Percy can give examples, because I feel like he has experience on how different people perform when they come into the space. So then with anyone who's coming into the space and then their background is not even data science, I feel like that the time is now, right? Only because the data science space people are still trying to figure it out. So it's like you'll be like the early people who got into the space. Don't worry much about that you don't have the background, to be honest. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we are headed towards a time whereby everything will be almost data driven. And I see that in a lot of work I'm doing. Like the forum we had, it was a women and youth business forum, but they had to collect data, and at the end they presented what they had analyzed, right? So you have to be you have to like have a critical mind, curious, and then very analytic, right? To then be like a deep data scientist. But with regards to getting into the space and just occupying one or the other kind of a level, you don't need that much previous experience. And then there are different courses online, and there are different organizations like the Gradient Boost that they can then guide you, because they're in a position to then understand the case, because it's a case-to-case basis, and then guide you. Okay, this is the language you should take. The reason why I learned it with Python is because during my time, that was what the market demanded. And the opportunities I was looking to get into, they wanted me to use Python, right? So then if you are getting then opportunities that require R, that's the direction you go. I'm not saying it's only Python and R that can be used, but also looking at what the market is demanding. Over to you, Percy.
Okay, thank you very much, Vivian. I hope your question was answered, Mr. Adero.
Yes.
Okay, that is great. Do we have any other question?
Hello, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I would like to now, most times there is no clear distinction between who a data scientist is and who a data analyst is. So what is the line that differentiates a data analyst from a data scientist?
Percy, do you want to take this one?
Okay, that's okay. Thank you. We will ask more questions. I'll start talking. I'll just make a mini verbal presentation. I will address that question, Emeka. I'll talk about the gradient boost, and then we will continue taking more questions for the last minutes that we will be having. So in the general sense of things, as far as I understand the data world, we have we have a lot of specializations that you can go into, but in general, there are 3 categories. And in those categories, we have data analytics, we have data sciences, we also have data engineering. Now, I'm going to start by explaining data engineering a bit. So in data engineering, you are mostly working with systems. So your job is to create systems that accommodates data. One of those systems, for example, you can use AWS to host the data of the company in such a way that other people, when they want to use that data, they have access to that data. So in most times, your job as a data engineer is to organize the structure that handles all the data department needs. Moving to data analytics, as a data analytics, you have a very defined role. In most of the time, your job is to make sure that the data that the company has is in a usable form, which is data cleaning, and you also involved in data visualization and some bit of machine learning. So moving to data science, from my experience when I was working for one of the biggest companies in South Africa, which is Nedbank, the data scientists, in most of the time, they don't have like a clear definition of what they do. So they're just given a role, and they have data, and they have a department. They have to figure out what they can bring to the company and what could be useful. But most times the skills that they possess heavily are in machine learning and basically data handling. So depending on the company that you're working for, your job as a data scientist will be defined by that. But as for a data engineer and a data analyst, in most of the time, you know what your roles are. That's my experience with the fields, and that's how I view them. Now, going into the gradient boost. In the gradient boost, the gradient boost is a community that helps people to convert from where they are. Either you are just from high school or you are from your particular field of specialization and you want to convert into a technical job. In the current moment, we okay, that is noted, Vivian. Thank you for joining us. I'll continue with the meeting. In the current space, we are heavily based on data science, but I mean, in the data world in general, but as we grow, we are going to grow into programming in general, software development, and no code kind of fields. So what we accommodate in our field are people who are starting from the beginning, who have no idea what programming is, and we use Python in most of our data science stuff, simply because it's more common. And in most of the time, the job posts that are out there require you to know Python and or R. So if you have Python, you have more chances of scoring yourself a job, and then you can learn Python, R by yourself, but definitely we are going to add R in the future. Now, on our platform, which we call the marketplace, we have different courses that are short-term courses that are based on the skills that are required by the industry. For example, we have a course that is Introduction to Python that can run for like 4 to 6 weeks. And then from there, we have a course that is called data scraping. That means it's a course that is based on getting data. It's based on getting data using API. You can scrape the data directly from a website, depending on the kind of website that you scrape. We have a course called how to use data science in the banking industry, how they use data science to analyze banking data to drive insights. We have a lot of different courses. Now, when you join into the site as a free individual, you are given guidance on the fields that you want to delve into. That guidance shows you the type of courses that you need to take first, and the sequence, like where to go next after you have finished taking a certain course. That is to make sure that after a certain period of time, you have completed a certain number of courses that puts you in a position that you can start applying for entry-level jobs. Now, those courses are not particularly created by us. They are created by, which is one thing that you need to take note of, which addresses another important fact in the field, that it's helpful for you to have a mentor. Now, those courses are not created by us. We go out there and get a certain mentor, which is a person who is specializing in that area of the whole data sphere. Let's say if you have someone who's working for AWS, not necessarily AWS, they work for a certain company, but they focus on building relations between that company and AWS. That means they built those systems that support the use of that company in AWS. Basically, they're specializing in AWS. We get that specific person to come to us and create a course that will take for like 4 to 6 weeks. And that course specializes in AWS. Now, when you are taking a journey in data engineering, that means you will learn a bit of programming, you will learn whatever that you need to learn that is related to data engineering. At some point when you are learning AWS, you will be learning it under that specific mentor. Now, you get an opportunity to learn under someone who's experienced in the field, and you get an opportunity to build a relationship with them. Now, the way those courses are run is that they run in different intervals in time. Let's say that one course in data in AWS can run maybe 3 times in a year, depending on the time that is available and stuff like that. Now, the mentor will launch the course, and when that course is running, what happens is that you have at least one session per week with that mentor, where they go through the content with you, they give you feedback on the content, and you discuss the content in general. That gives you the live feedback directly from your mentor, and also access basically to someone who created that course. You also have small groups that you work with when you go throughout the course. That gives you a chance to communicate what you are learning with people who are learning at the same pace with you, which is called peer-to-peer review. And it also helps you learn better in general. Now, those courses come with a cost, of course, but they usually range from 10 US dollars to 15 and 20 US dollars. So they are made to be affordable in that sense. I'm just going to give you guys a chance to ask questions from what I have said, what I have shared with you, and what Vivian has shared with you, and we will take it from there. So do you guys have any clearance that you need from us? Do you guys have any questions with what I have shared with you? I had someone who asked how you can get into data science before I started talking. Did what I have presented helped you have a way to go from here forward? Was it not you, Victor?
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But
Okay.
everything I've been said so far, I I understand, and it's kind of clear to me.
Okay, that's cool. Otherwise, if you guys don't have any other questions for me, I will be sharing the link to the Gradient Boost site. You guys can check it out, see what's happening in there. And if you need any one to talk to ask more about the courses that are taking place in there, you can email me directly. I'll also share my email with you guys. Just give me a minute. Yeah, that's the link to the marketplace. And here's my email. Or you can also ask from your community leader to to link you up with us. There we go. By the way, we also have some few interesting courses that will be starting soon. One of them is in data scraping, which is one of the courses that you might be interested in. If you guys don't have any other questions, that's what we had for you for today. Thank you very much, Vivian, for spending your time with us. We will be closing the session.
Thank you, Percy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in as well.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
That is great. Thanks, guys.